We pulled up to the thrift store just as two cars were backing out of parking spaces, and as hard as parking is to find there lately, I took it as a sign that I might find something wonderful. I'm Michelle. This is my romantic tangle. The first thing that caught my eye when we walked in was this. And I have been wondering a lot lately since I heard that you cannot do crochet by machine. This looks like crochet. Is this handmade? Because it is absolutely amazing. And to my untrained eye, it looks like crochet, and that embroidery looks like it was hand done. So if you're more knowledgeable than I am, please let me know what you think in the comments below. This quilt that's hand tied, that is definitely handmade. You can see where there wasn't enough fabric for some of the squares, so they were pieced together to make them large enough. And once I found that first handmade quilt, I was on the hunt for more. And here's the second one. Love the light green and yellow. That is such a pretty, restful color palette. This one, I can't decide for sure. The words were embroidered. I have a hunch that the image might have been painted with something like those liquid embroidery paints my great grandma used to use. And that backing, which totally does not match the front, is one of the things that tips me in towards thinking it was handmade. Look at this little quilt and those yellow prints. Sometimes the fabric does all the work, and the simplest quilt can be the absolute most gorgeous thing. There's another quilt, and then look at this one. It is quilted. It just needs to be trimmed and bound. So does this one. And this one was absolutely stunning. But I can't see spending almost $50 for a quilt that I would still need to take home and finish, no matter how gorgeous those fabric choices and the print with the barns are. This quilt is going to be fantastic when it is finished. And here's another one. One way or another, a quilter donated a lot, and I would bet that all of those, and probably this too, came from the same person. Then over with the tablecloths and bedding, I found bags of quilting cotton. This is not where this store would usually have put these, and it was just a fluke that I was looking for the basket of doilies and saw them out of the corner of my eye. This looks like it is big cuts of actual decent quilting cotton, and I bought 4 of the bags. I'm hoping that there are some pieces in there that if they're not big enough to back some of those quilt tops I did over at the coast, maybe they will be big enough to provide a good chunk of a piece batting for them. And if they aren't big enough, hey, I'm going to make new quilt tops or pass them on to someone in the quilting group. It'll all work out. At $6 a bag, and I am guessing there are at least 10 yards of fabric in each of those going by weight, it's not a bad deal. There were more vintage sewing machines than usual, but I managed to tip my camera at the wrong angle, and so I didn't get footage of half of them. I even had my son with me, and he was willing to lift them down on the shelf, take them out of their cases, and put them back when we were done looking. The prices on these were great, and I didn't look at them closely enough to see if they were working. A lady was looking at this one right before we got to it, and she didn't buy it. Now, is that because it was missing something important, or because she didn't need another sewing machine in her life? At the thrift store down the road from the feed store, I found old Toal painting books from the early 1970s. I am still in love with the idea of adapting these patterns to needlework. I've seen it done at an antique store, and it was gorgeous. So anytime I find these for a quarter lately, they are coming home with me. I was absolutely swooning about these little mice, and then I found the goose. My mom painted this goose when I was a little kid. We don't know where her original went to. I had forgotten it until I saw another one in an antique store. And once I got the idea of trying to convert these to embroidery, I wanted the goose, and now I have it, and I am so happy. Look at this trunk. It had its original shelves, and the lining was in shockingly good condition, and they only wanted $50 for it. If there had been room in the car, this probably would have come home with us. Thanks for watching. I'm Michelle. This is my romantic tangle, and watch for a video showing what fabric was in those bags.